Aloha. This is the Bear Woznick Adventure coming to you from Waikiki Beach. I'm looking out my window right now. It's the second really big, juicy swell of the summer season. We had closeout conditions a week ago, just after the tsunami, and now we got another swell rolling in. So I think on days like today, all the surfers just wake up and they're so cheerful and so happy, and everybody's in a good mood for some reason until you're surfing and someone drops in on you and cuts you off. But we're excited about our show today. We have the legendary Mark Houck with us. We'll be right back with more of the Bear Woznick Adventure.
Welcome to the Bear Woznick Adventure. Kickstart that engine and roll thunder with the pack. Explore the grittiness of manly spirituality. Gain traction in the virtues. Soup up your spiritual engine by turning adversity into adventure. Now here's Bear Woznick. Let's ride.
Aloha. Welcome to the Bear Woznick Adventure. One of the most refreshing things that can happen in life is to be with your beautiful family out, like in the country a little bit, and then have 26 FBI agents show up with guns drawn, knocking on your door. It's really I don't know what you call it. It's kind of refreshing, a bit of a wake-up call. If you don't know about our man among men, Mark Houck, someone who I really admire, love, just fun to be with too, is here with us today, and we're going to talk a little bit about that background story and about all that's happened since then. It's like the demonic strongholds have fallen, and yet Mark still, I know, is facing a lot of resistance. Mark, welcome to the Bear Woznick Adventure.
Bear, it's good to be back with you. Thanks always for having me, invited me, and it's a pleasure to join your audience.
The last time we saw each other, I don't know what city it was in, but it had just been a couple weeks after you had been acquitted from that terrible
Indianapolis,
wrong.
yeah, we were in
Yeah.
Guilford, Indiana.
Yeah, that terrible assault it was an assault on you and on your family. Can we just start with that story? Because one of the things I
Yeah,
know is when you're involved in that in very, very public situation and you're acquitted and you're found not guilty, there's still this shadow that hangs over you. And I want to break that cloud, that shadow, and just let the
sure.
light shine in. So tell us the story.
Yeah, so briefly, if no one knows, I was targeted by the Federal Bureau of Investigation under the Biden administration in 2021 as a potential domestic terrorist, as a pro-life activist, and many of us were targeted in that way. When 2022 came around, I was put through the process of being indicted, and that consisted of about 20 plus federal agents and local law enforcement storming onto my property in the wee hours of the morning, very, very early, six o'clock in the morning, and scaring the hell out of my
With with
children.
with guns drawn.
M16
I
guns
mean,
pointed at my chest, my wife's chest, and
if if
and
they
and and my
if they had
children.
asked you, if they had asked you just to come by and talk with them, would have you, or were they thinking you were going to barricade yourself in with guns or something? And what were they thinking?
Well, it had been almost about 6 months since they notified us that we might be indicted, and we communicated to them right away. Just give us a call. My attorneys communicated. We'll come down to the federal building, whatever you want to do. We're peaceful people. We'll cooperate with you. No, they wanted a full display of humiliation, intimidation, and between you and me, Bear, you come with that much armor to a man's house, you're expecting to use them, I think. And by God's grace, no one got hurt that day, other than they lost their innocence. The children all lost their innocence. Homeschool family, and then you got stormtroopers on your property first thing in the morning. The sleeping is never the same. Tyranny and dictatorships have arrived there when they wake sleeping children in the middle of the night and arrest their father at gunpoint. And that's what happened. We were put through the process of 4 months to trial, where I was facing 11 years in prison, $350,000 in fines, and some supervised probation for about 3 years. And anybody that's been on probation knows that that's no fun. But anyhow, 99% conviction rate when the government comes after you. So we were going up against Goliath, and we had our five smooth stones, and we went to trial in January of
Well,
2023, and we were acquitted unanimously.
what were they accusing you of? I mean, that's even on film, right? I mean, the incident. What was this terrible, terrible outlandishly extreme terrorist thing did they accuse
Sure.
you of? I mean, we
Sure.
saw
Well, I
that we all
mean,
saw the video. It speaks for itself.
I was protecting my son. I was at a Planned Parenthood in Philadelphia, and my boy was being harassed. My
Weren't weren't you
12-year-old boy
across
at the
weren't you
time.
across weren't you across the street?
I was 50 feet, I should say 50 feet from the entrance to the building. I was on the same block as the building, but
And isn't this something
certainly
you've
away
done
from the
every
entrance.
isn't this something you've done every week for years?
Yeah,
And you're
about 20 years
always
I've been going down to
and
Planned Parenthood or another location in the Philadelphia region to pray and witness to life and we've been doing it peacefully and yeah, unfortunately I got in a bit of an altercation with a guy who would not stop harassing and emotionally verbally abusing my son and yeah, it's on video. You can see it. I pushed the guy away from my son and that became the source of an indictment where they used this terrible law that Ted Kennedy put into law back in 1993. It's called the FACE Act, Freedom of Access to Clinic Entrances. It's up for repeal now. They're trying to repeal it. But essentially, it's being used. It was being used, not anymore now that Donald Trump's in office, but it was being used at the DOJ to target pro-life activists, people who are peacefully praying and influencing people through their First Amendment rights.
so he was messing with your 24-year-old 6'2" bullfighter son. Is that what he was doing, this man?
Yeah. No, Mark was 12 and yeah, he's bigger now, but yeah, I mean, he's just coming after him. He wouldn't stop. And I've known the guy for years and he's known my son. It's just one of those things where it just seems that the demonic, as you alluded to earlier, and these places are infested with evil, just was took over. And this guy just acted very irrationally and everything was acquitted in Philadelphia court. Like there was a nothing burger. Nothing came of it. But the federal government said, well, we want to make an example of this guy. And it was perfect timing after Roe was overturned. And yep, I was one of the many cases that they wanted to use to kind of make pro-life people stop witnessing and scare the heck out of them.
There isn't a single man that I would call a man that wouldn't you were very limited in what you did. You pushed. He didn't punch him. You just pushed him away from your son. The guy
Right,
was, I hate to say it, but he was, you know, not very coordinated, and he tripped and he fell over. But there
right.
isn't a single real man that would allow a man to get in his little boy's face and accost him like he did. You were right to just to separate him, and now there's this. I'll tell you what. I was talking with Dominique Davis over in Albuquerque. She has the pro life. She's the executive of the pro life uh, group over there, and I'm going to be speaking there in September, by the way. And I guess their pro-life headquarters was just right across the street from Planned Parenthood. And we started talking about the demonic oppression. I mean, just think of the glee of the demons hanging around that Planned Parenthood place. The demons of Moloch or Baal, the
Hmm.
ones that used to have the people sacrifice their children, still do. And they said that because of all the changes that have happened since this attack on you, Planned Parenthood had to move into a smaller or building, or maybe they had to close down. I'm not sure. But she said the difference in that one moment when Friday came and Monday these people were gone, they didn't even know they were leaving. She said there was you could feel a lightness around you, like the demonic oppression had left.
Mm.
It truly is a demonic attack. And I'm going to challenge the mama bears out there to pray for Mark and his family because this attack has affected your ministry. It's affected you financially. When you're accused of something like this, people just say, "Oh, he's guilty," and so
Right.
there's been a real hit to your ministry. And your ministry is so profound. It lifts up. It's a pro-life ministry. It also really challenges men to be men of virtue. And so we need to enter into the fray with you and to fight the good fight. Mark, how if people want to reach you, where can they reach you?
Yeah, look, the website is thekingsmen.org, much like your great work, Bear. We're just serving the men of God, right? The men of God's church and fathers, sons, husbands, brothers. All my contact information's there, and our programs are there. You can see what we do.
I can tell you what, if you got a choice between me and Mark coming out to speak, call up Mark, contact Mark. He's dynamic, he's powerful. His ministry is his, he's God's lifted him up. You can't, the work that you do, no matter how hard you work and how good you are at it, it still takes the Lord saying, "I'm going to lift this man up and give him a trumpet, to sound the
Mm.
troops." And so we need to get Mark. I know you're already overworked, but we need to get you out there, and for people to hear your message. Mark Houck, what's the website again? Is it the
Yeah,
Kingsmen dot
kingsmen.org.
the Kingsmen.org? We're talking with Mark Houck. We'll be right back with more of the Bear Woznick Adventure. Schoolofmanliness.com is a place for men of grit and grace to join together to inspire, to encourage, and to challenge each other to grow in manly virtue. Members receive morning man meditations, a monthly curriculum that is rich with audio, video, and written content, and a trail guide to help you map out your new trajectory. Many of our members lead their sons through this same curriculum. Your membership gives you access to both the Man Cave, which is our non-Facebook type community, and the School of Manliness at schoolofmanliness.com. Become a member at schoolofmanliness.com. Deep Adventure Ministries is grateful to Notre Dame Federal Credit Union for underwriting the Bear Woznick Adventure on EWTN. Notre Dame Federal Credit Union provides car loans, mortgages, SBA loans, and depository accounts nationwide, as well as 24-hour support. Go to deepadventure.com to find their link, or go to NotreDameFCU.com. Mahalo to Notre Dame Federal Credit Union for making the Bear Woznick Adventure possible. My newest book, 12 Rules for Manliness, Where Have All the Cowboys Gone?, has hit the top 5 in Christian books for a good reason. It's because men are searching for traction and a trail guide to live out the unique calling and the gifts that they were born with, that each man individually is factory loaded with by God. Paul said, "Be watchful, stand firm in the faith, act like men, do all things in love." Finally, here is a book that talks with men the way men talk with each other. Just plain old straight shoot. By the way, Mama Bears, this is your chance to get this message to your men. Go to schoolofmanliness.com or anywhere books are sold. 12 Rules for Manliness. Where have all the cowboys gone?
This is a warning. The Bear Woznick Adventure is dangerous. The radical change Bear challenges you to is not for wimps. Change this station now to a soft rock station before it's too late. You've been warned. Now, here is Bear Woznick.
Aloha, welcome to the Bear Woznick Adventure. I want to invite everyone to go to EWTN catalog or your local Catholic bookstore, or to our website, schoolofmanliness.com, or even Amazon. If you buy our book on Amazon, it's great because it promotes, their algorithm starts promoting the book and gets it out to the message out to the world. But my newest book, 12 Rules for Manliness, Where Have All the Cowboys Gone?, is a book that speaks with men the way men sit to each other when they're sitting out on the back porch having a whiskey and a cigar and just getting real with each other and just talking as men talk with men. So it's gritty, it's real. We call it grit and grace, and it challenges men, encourages men right down in their gut, what it means to be a man of God, and to give them traction on the way. So 12 Rules for Manliness, Where Have All the Cowboys Gone? It's a great title, isn't it? My wife gave me the title when we were driving along here from Waikiki up by Diamond Head, and this song came on, Where Have All the Cowboys Gone? And she said, "You're gonna love this," because my wife's a cowgirl. And so all the book has got a lot of quotes from Louis L'Amour, the great Western novelist, and it's just something I think men really love it. So Mama Bears, get this book into your men's hands, and you'll love it too. Even your daughter should read this. It'll help her really kind of define what she wants in a husband. Speaking of a man of God, we got with us today Mark Houck. I always want to say it that way. Am I always saying it wrong? Is that how I say it? Houck or
Yeah,
Hoke?
Houck is how you pronounce it.
Where are you today, by the way?
I'm in my home where we're gonna have our newborn baby who just was came to the world 2 days ago on the Feast of Transfiguration. And this is where
Wow.
the baby. I'm in the nursery right now,
I
where
was
she
going to
will be.
ask you, I was going to ask you because you looked like you got more sleep than you should have because it was just 2 days ago, right?
No way. I'm getting 2 hours of sleep a night. That's it.
Oh, that's plenty. What are you doing? What do you do in your spare time then between 2 a.m. and 4 a.m.?
Jeez. Well, right now it's diaper world, but yeah, no, look, I got two horses, so where the cowboy's gone, you're looking at one. I don't really
Yeah.
ride much, but I got
Holy
two
cow,
horses, two
Mark, right
dogs.
out just now I had just five F-16 fighter jets just go right by my window. I could have thrown a rock at them. Oh my gosh. I'm
Jeez.
sorry to interrupt you. Is it
No, that's
something?
all right.
Maybe they heard you on my
That's
show. They're gonna come
that's
find
more
you.
exciting than two horses.
No, but tell me about that. Oh, the smoke's going to come right through my house.
Oh
Tell me
gosh.
about that though. You have two horses?
Yeah, I have a Mustang and a trail riding horse, a mountain horse. So yeah, they're just great. Great horses are great animals. They're very smart. They're great with kids. It's great. We're homeschool here, so the homeschool has a whole equestrian kind of feel to it, where the kids, if they need a break from mom yelling at them or dad getting on at our case for not doing their work, they can go out and just pet the horse and feed the horse. I tell you, they use them
Uh,
for therapy reasons with Down syndrome children. They're great
yeah.
animals. So we've had them for a number of years, and so that keeps me busy. The chores, being a horse person, it's up at 5 o'clock in the morning, and when it gets dark, dealing with them. But
That what they call it? Can
they're
see
great
to can't
animals.
see? Can see to can't see. Isn't that what cowboys say? Can
What do
see
they
to
say?
can't see. Can
I don't know.
see to can't. Can see to can't see. Get
Oh,
up.
can
Can
see
see.
to can't see. Yeah, that sounds right.
I think every real man should get up at 5 o'clock. You got to have that hour with the Lord, to if you're going to really make it, change the world. Which I love. I was talking with Doug Barry a couple of years ago. He doesn't remember saying that. I was on his show, and
Yeah.
as he's getting ready, he goes, "Gentlemen, let's save the world." And I'm like, "That is so cool. That's exactly our mission, right?" But my wife was a cowgirl. She was a barrel racer,
Oh, that's great.
so she's still a
Yeah.
real cowgirl.
I'll tell you, the
Yeah.
best way to learn how to be a cowboy is just to do it, right? Just to get out there, just start doing it, and then the horse will teach you what you need to know because he'll kick you if you're not doing the right things. But back to your point, George Washington once said, and I saw this when I was at Mount Vernon. He said, "It's despicable for a man to be in bed when the sun is rising."
I agree. I agree. I think a real man, if you're a real man, you get up an hour before, at least an hour before sunrise, when it's still dark,
Yeah, I
before the
love
rooster
dark. I love
crows.
that dark hour. That's why I
It's
was awake when
sacred.
the FBI came to my
Oh,
house. I was up at 6 o'clock in the
yeah.
morning. And I was ready to go. So if I wasn't that type of man, I would have been sleeping,
You
you
come
know.
out in your bathrobe. That wouldn't have been a good look.
Yeah, I had shorts and flip flops. I might as well have been in Waikiki with the shorts and the flip
You had your
flops.
shorts and your cowboy boots on. That doesn't work. We have a real cowboy here with us in Waikiki today. Brad Rushmore. He's the ramrod for the School of Manliness. He's a 25-year-old young man, bull rider.
Wow,
So we said, "You want to ride bulls?" So yesterday he surfed his first waves.
wow,
So, but he's helping me with my new book, the trail guide that goes along with 12 rules for manliness. But
great.
yeah, but I think, God loves horses. I mean, in the Bible, how many times does he mention me? And they're so valiant. They'll charge right into an array of spears, you know. Um, and I can just say something. That reminds me of you because that's what you did. There's a difference between weakness and meekness. Meekness is a powerful person like Mark Houck yielding himself to the move of the Holy Spirit. And a horse is like that. A horse is meek. It's the most powerful of animals, but it will yield itself to the rider. And I just see
Right.
that in your life. I mean, I've known you for so long, and I've admired you. And when this all started happening, I thought, no, Mark's just going to do fine. He's God's champion. He's just going to let God, hold the reins and see you through all of this. And it was really a testimony to all of us, man, to see how you handled the whole thing with such grace and the way that the words that your ability to communicate was so clear. So how many kids do you have now, Mark?
Well, with the gift of the new baby, that's 8 children with us, and we had 9 miscarried children, so 17. I got 9 saints in heaven, and that's why I can freely surrender to God because I got these 9 saints praying for me. I
Don't you
got
think it's
I
so
got
true,
great
isn't it?
intercessors.
I have two there, and I think of them as little children. But I think, no, these guys are praying for me, saying, "What's wrong with that
Hmm.
guy? Let's pray for him." No, it's so true. It's so sacred. But what is your 5 o'clock hour like? Like, do you get up and have some time of prayer right away, or how do you start your day?
Well, you tiptoe, downstairs because you don't want to wake anybody up, and so there's this stealth-like kind of approach to it, and you allow your
Yeah,
wife to
yeah,
to stay sleeping, and so the coffee gets made and brews, right? That's kind of like you're not quite awake yet, but then while the coffee's brewing, I open my Magnificat, and so I go right to the feast day, if there is a feast day, or just a morning prayer. I like to have silence. I like to have just me and Jesus and just a word. Like
yeah.
I was meditating on the other day. The litany of Jesus's name. One of them is Courage of Martyrs, is one
Wow.
of his titles, and I was just meditating, centering on myself with Courage of Martyrs. Courage of Martyrs. And just reminding myself, and that has a lot to do with our growth in virtue as men, just to call upon
Hmm.
that fortitude. And we have it, by virtue of our baptism. But I don't think a lot of us summon it, Bear. And I think with your 12 rules of manliness, you really nail that. But you really have to summon. And I think it comes from that morning time.
Yes.
That's where our
Yes.
strength comes for the day.
Yeah. Meditate is a cowboy word, right? The Hebrew and the Greek word for meditate is the word ruminate, which is what a cow does. It
Mm,
chews, it swallows, it spits up, chews again, swallows, spits up. So meditation in the Christian sense is to read God's word, contemplate it. So my wife says at the end of each chapter, she has me just say, chew on it.
chew
You
on it.
know, and when I'm reading, if you're not getting up, if you're not spending time in prayer and in the Word first thing in the morning, you're like a little kid in Gaza. In Gaza, you're in the
Hmm.
middle of a war zone, and you're losing already. So if you don't get
Mm.
up in the morning and have that clarity, now I just realized something. I always think my wife, she's so sweet. The last thing she does at night is she makes the coffee, so all I have to do is turn it on. I just realized when you said how you got to go down stealth like.
Yeah.
She's not being sweet and nice. She just doesn't want me hear me rattling the coffee pot and making noises. She just wants to hear me
It's
not be
true.
able to hear me push a button. But I think if Aquinas had ever had a cup of coffee, which I know they hadn't just brought it to Europe yet, I don't think they had because it came, I think, from Turkey or someplace. But he would have used that as the sixth proof from logic for the existence of
Six.
God. We're talking with Mark
Beautiful.
Houck and Mark. When you go out and speak, what is your two or three topics that you love to speak about?
Well, a lot of people are interested in what happened of late, when I
Mhm.
do speak of late. But when we're talking about virtues like you, we're talking about authentic masculinity. And what does that look like? A lot of times I'm asked to speak on fatherhood because even if we're not a biological father, and you know this as well as I do, we're still all have that fatherly
Right.
heart, even if you
Yeah.
don't have kids, you're still a father, right? You're still a mentor. And so I speak a lot on beloved sonship and
Wow.
that gift of fatherhood.
Well, we're talking with Mark Houck, and I would really be disappointed if when we're Mark's a very humble man, but I can say the things we need to get him. Let's just get him so busy that he he says stop. We need to get you out. We need to get Mark. He speaks a lot, but if you have a chance to have a guest, have Mark Houck come and speak. We're talking to Mark Houck, the founder of the Kingsmen.org, and really a pro-life hero. We'll be right back with more of the Bear Woznick Adventure. Go to schoolofmanliness.com and subscribe to our weekly email to receive video YouTube links of the Bear Woznick radio show, as well as the Spirit of Adventure with Bear and Cindy TV show, which, by the way, is filmed in the tropics, as well as our manly evangelistic YouTube shorts. Go to schoolofmanliness.com. People love our EWTN TV show, Long Ride Home with Bear Woznick. Thanks to you, the show has won 4 different Tally Awards. And now, instead of waiting each week for the next episode to air, you can actually binge watch our show and even share it with your friends when you go to deepadventure.com and join the Mama Bears or the Man Cave. Along with all the other benefits, you get total access to all the seasons of our aired episodes, plus instant access to episodes that won't even air for several months. Long Ride Home with Bear Woznick, a great way to communicate the gospel in a gritty enough way that even tough men will stop and watch at deepadventure.com.
Be the kind of man that when he gets out of bed in the morning, the devil says, "Oh no, he's up." Go to deepadventure.com and invite Bear to speak.
Aloha, welcome to the Bear Woznick Adventure. You guys, we're working so hard. I got 2 young men out here. By the way, there's a tremendous impact. A lot of young men are coming to the Catholic Church, and it's because the Catholic Church requires something of them. It isn't a come here and feel good place. It's a come here and get real, get gritty, become a disciple, become disciplined in your faith. That's what young men really want. And so I brought Brad Rushmore out here. Mentioned him earlier, bull rider, and Dominic from Florida out here for 14 days, and we're working on the trail guide, the field manual, the boot camp, uh, uh, Saturday morning weekly boot camp for men that goes along with my book, 12 Rules for Manliness, Where Have All the Cowboys Gone? It's just a Saturday morning workbook, and it also goes along with men's groups that are using the book. But their part, is the ramrod for our School of Manliness. What we have at schoolofmanliness.com, it's like the Cave of Adullam. It's like where all the misfits and the knuckle draggers showed up when David was on the run. And God formed those men, and they formed each other into the mighty men of valor, the mighty men of God. And that's what we're all about. So we have a non-Facebook community called the Man Cave. So we're posting there all the time, men their challenges, their stupid stuff they've done. And like we got a bunch of bikers riding across the country right now posting there. It's just a great community of men. And so we have the non-Facebook community for men. And we also have every morning you get a 1 or 2 sentence excerpt from the catechism, and we're going line by line through the entire catechism. So first thing in the morning, before you even get up to punch the coffee, you have something to start you contemplating. And because the catechism itself says can be used for Lectio Divina. And then on Saturday mornings, you get the curriculum for the School of Manliness, which is also all online. And what I'm really excited about is men can get their sons a logon for the School of Manliness. They can't be members of the Man Cave unless they're 18. But then the fathers lead their sons through this curriculum. And we have audio, we have video, we have questions, and it's just a great way for fathers to have a gritty conversation with their sons. And it's something that men use in their men's group too. So schoolofmanliness.com, come join us. Come participate. And you can also sign up for our newsletter there, and you get the weekly radio show in the YouTube version. So if you want to know how handsome our guest Mark Houck is, sign up for our newsletter and you get the YouTube. Mark Houck, welcome to the Bear Woznick Adventure. So you were talking about, what was it? You talked about sonship. What was the way you phrased that just before we take a break?
Yeah, beloved sonship.
What is that? I mean, that's a profound statement.
Well, I think men have 2 experiences when it comes to their sonship. They either have the heart of an orphan or they have the heart of a son. And that's
Mm.
been my experience 20 plus years working with men is they have these 2 dynamics working there. And I think what we deal with men today, and some guys would say that maybe the biggest wound is the father wound, and that really contributes to that orphan heart, where their dad, who may have been in their life, may have not have been in their life, really didn't initiate his son. He didn't grow up in a band of brothers. He didn't feel like he had that cohort that his father invited him into. And so he's kind of a lost kind of man when he needs a man cave. He needs the Bear Woznick Adventure. He needs programs like that to help him. And so, when we deal with men, we talk about that as beloved sonship, that Christ himself was the beloved son. And so the apple of his father's eye. And so
Mm.
each one of us are truly that. When God looks at us, we're coated in the blood of Christ. This Francis de Sales would talk about this. When God looks at us, Bear Woznick, Mark Houck, he sees his son. He sees Jesus because we're all coated in the blood of Christ. And so we're grafted into that sonship and we kind of join Christ as that beloved son that he is, even if our dad wasn't the best of guys. Hey, they're broken guys, there's no handbook on parenthood. Sometimes guys get it right, some guys really mess it up. And so we deal with that fallout. And beloved sonship's a big one for a lot of guys because what happens, Bear, is it becomes an intergenerational problem. And the father wound is passed on to the son's women, and then you deal with generational healing. And Scripture tells us that when those types of things happen, maybe a curse of the father, God will allow that for 4 generations. But when a father blesses his son, right out of the book of Exodus, it'll last for 1,000 generations. So that's what we're trying to help men to realize, and I know you're doing great work with that too.
Well, I know that it can swing like a pendulum too. Your father was too harsh, so you're too easy on your kids.
Yeah,
Or your
yeah,
father
right,
or it can be, your father neglected you, so you neglected your kids. It can be either way. It's
right,
it's tough being as and I don't know, but my generation of fathers, we were dads when we were 21, 22, 23.
right.
So you're starting out like still basically a kid,
Kid.
and my dad too. So I think that's really profound. Isn't it interesting? Hey, Mark, isn't it cool that as men, we have that in common with Jesus, that Jesus is a son?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a gift. I mean, that's his gift to us as men. I mean, Augustine talks about this, that if God has a preference for a gender, now St. Augustine's saying these words, not you and I, but he says it's clear that God has a preference for a gender. It's not saying he doesn't love women any better, but if God had to choose which gender he was going to be, he chose to be a man, and so that gives us great
Mm,
dignity. Obviously he's the new Adam and it all flows in line with the fall, we get that, but Augustine says, he has a preference for males because he is one, and so that gives us great dignity, but at the same
yeah,
time great responsibility. So it's like Spider-Man,
yeah. What about Spider-Man? With his great power comes great
great
responsibility.
responsibility.
Oh, he's stick the Spider-Man thing in there. Okay. No, I think it is profound. It is profound. That not only are we sons, but we're also many of us are fathers.
Right,
And God is a father and he has a son, eternally begotten of the Father.
for
So
sure.
so such a and one of the things, Mark, I know about you, and if you're involved in new evangelization, it's 100% true. Happiness, different than joy, but happiness comes from adversity. It comes from hard work. And Jesus said, even now the Father and I, we work. They take delight in their work. They're doing work. They're working a
Mhm.
lot on us and in us. But there's also that kind of dignity that we have as men that so many men, the first thing in the morning, they get up and they go to work. I have to fight not getting up and going to work. I mean, I'm the part of me that wants to get up and go to work is awake before I'm awake. And so
Mm.
I have to resist that and say, no, we're going to sit down and we're going to pray. But that element of men that have this ability, wanting to work, to be productive, to provide, to build, not tear down. Can you talk to us about that?
Yeah, look, we're talking about Saint Joseph. It's the only way that we can relate
Mm,
to that fatherhood because he was not divine, and yet there he is. He's head of the divine, right? He's head of Christ. He's head of Mary. Two people, uh, significantly, greater than him, obviously, but yet God condescends himself and humbles himself and allows Joseph to become the head of Christ in the sense of the Holy Family. So I think in Joseph we find that balance that you said, that tecton, that guy that, he had to
Yeah, the
provide.
builder.
He,
Yeah.
he's a builder, he's a carpenter, he's a tecton. And you know what? They didn't grow up with a lot, right? The Lord saw fit that they would be fairly modest in their wages and almost poor, right? Would be fair to
Right.
say that they lived
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
poor,
Paycheck
simple
to
life.
paycheck, right? Paycheck to
Right. And
paycheck.
that teaches us as men, like you don't need to lead your family with the idea of power and asset accumulation. For men, we really have to be generous. We have to have the generous heart of a Joseph who understands that there's provision for his family and then there's provision for the community. And so, what the mystics tell us when it comes to Joseph, and you probably read some of this yourself, is that he would never charge anybody for his work, which is a model that entrepreneurs would not subscribe to. But he asked them to pay him what they thought it was worth. So if he produced something for you, pay me for what it's worth. And sometimes people paid him a just wage, and some people didn't pay him anything at all. And other times they gave him even more than he needed. And so what he did is he took the money and he gave it to his family for what they needed, and everything else he donated and gave away. Wow, what a model for us as
Yeah.
fathers and
Yeah.
husbands and entrepreneurs and leading our family.
It's so cool too. Saint Joseph the worker, Saint Joseph, terror of demons.
Demons.
So men who want to model themselves after you know, Jesus, earthly father. I mean, that attitude of work, of being a builder. We don't know what Jesus built, but we know one thing he built. He said, "I will build my church." But God is a builder. He built the whole universe, and men who work and build and produce, as opposed to Satan, who all he can do is tear down. That's why men should be a terror of demons, because we're building the kingdom of God within our domestic church, and
Sure.
we're building a life for our families. I keep pointing this out this week as I'm walking down Kalakaua Avenue with these young men, and I'll see these guys that look like you. They have a little bit of a beard, and then maybe they're wearing a baseball cap, and they're walking with their wife, and there's a couple of kids straggling behind them, and I go, "That's a real man. He's worked hard. He's brought his kids to this place." Those real men that get up and they work, but they're not just working, they're building their families. We're talking with
Mm.
Mark Houck. What's the name of your website again, Mark?
Sure, thekingsmen.org.
We'll be right back with more of the Bear Woznick Adventure. Deep Adventure Ministries is grateful to Notre Dame Federal Credit Union for underwriting the Bear Woznick Adventure on EWTN. Notre Dame Federal Credit Union provides car loans, mortgages, SBA loans, and depository accounts nationwide, as well as 24-hour support. Go to deepadventure.com to find their link, or go to NotreDameFCU.com. Mahalo to Notre Dame Federal Credit Union for making the Bear Woznick Adventure possible. Announcing Spirit Adventure TV with Bear and Cindy. So many people, especially you mama bears, tell us we want more of Bear and Cindy together. Well, we're happy to announce our website, spiritofadventuretv.com, as well as our YouTube channel, Bear Woznick Spirit of Adventure, where you can watch Spirit of Adventure TV with Bear and Cindy. Join us where we live in the Hawaiian Islands or where we sail our boat, the Spirit of Adventure, in the Caribbean. Experience both adventure and serenity with us as we share our life together, as well as the joy and the wisdom of our faith. Go to spiritofadventuretv.com to find out more, and subscribe on YouTube to Bear Woznick Spirit of Adventure. And join us, Spirit of Adventure with Bear and Cindy.
Are you still listening? I thought we warned you to change to an easy listening station. Well, you asked for it. Here is more of the Bear Woznick Adventure.
Aloha, welcome to the Bear Woznick Adventure. Our TV show Long Ride Home with Bear Woznick is showing on Prime Video. It's a great way to trick people to get who maybe don't know the Lord to sit and watch. We've got so many people that have come, men that have come to the Lord because they thought they were watching a biker show. big guns, Trace Chamberlain, iron worker out of oil man out of Texas, and so many others that have come to the Lord just because, well, what's this show? And the next thing you know, it airs on EW10 occasionally. Next thing you know, big guns, Trace Chamberlain is a Catholic. Not next thing you know, it took a while. Took 2 or 3 years of going to school and waiting patiently to receive the Eucharist. So, but yeah, it's a 33 episodes, long ride home. It's available on Prime Video, and the last 11 episodes are all shot here in Waikiki, so it's pretty cool, or here in Hawaii. We're talking with Mark Houck. His organization is thekingsmen.org. Actually, Mark, I think the first time I had you on my show was probably 8 years ago, at least,
Mm.
way back.
Yeah, we
One
were
of my,
talking about running with the bulls in Spain, I remember.
oh yeah, did you run with the Bulls?
I did. Yeah, we
Yeah,
talked about
let's
that.
talk about that. Can we just take a side trip on that? Yeah,
Sure,
because I've
sure.
got this bull rider here with me. Let's talk about running with the bulls. Did we do it around the same time? I think I did it around the year 1999 or 2000 or something.
Yeah, I
So
was
it's
there
probably,
in 2000.
yeah. Was it the year that they had the biggest, the no, greatest number of ambulances?
Someone got gored that year. There's about 14,
Yeah,
15 guys up to that point that
it
had
might have.
been killed in the running of the bulls, and the last one was an American who
I
died.
think it might have been the same year. I've done it a couple of times, but one year, because I used to go surf a contest in Biarritz, France, and just go over
Biarritz.
the go yeah Biarritz, the Basque area there over there, and I just go over the hill, 90-minute drive, and I'm go run with the bulls and go back in time to surf my heat. But yeah, I mean, uh, they say the most dangerous thing is the people. If you fall down and you get trampled by the people,
It's
right?
true.
What was your experience?
Well, I was there for 3 days and really went into it blind. I mean, I read Hemingway's thoughts on it, and you really can't prepare for
You
the
can't. You
run.
cannot. You cannot
No,
prepare. No.
no, there's nothing like it, and you can't outrun a bull. So
Yeah.
you just got to pick your spot in the 800 meters, yards that it is to the arena that you know, and then you just go. And one guy described it. I think I might have shared this with you, but we'll share it again. It's worth saying. This guy said, "I've been here every year for the last 50 years or something," and he said, "Let me see the spittle. Let me see if you have any spittle." And
Mm.
my mouth was a cotton mouth because these horns
Yeah.
can cut right through you like butter.
Oh yeah, you can. Yeah.
And
It's
he and
probably the
I
most
said,
dangerous thing you can do. I mean, I've surfed big
"Oh,
waves and everything. It's a
it's
because you
it's
can't
not the
there's
smartest thing to
because
do.
it's
That's
out of
right.
it's out of your control. There's not a
It
thing you can
is.
do to
This is a
prevent it.
wild animal. Look, there's six steers and there's six wild bulls that are not tame, and anything can happen. And so you're putting yourself right in front of him. And this guy said, "Let me see your spit." And I said, "I
There
can't
wasn't
get any
any.
spit up." He said, "Well,
Yeah.
then you're ready to run with the
You
bulls."
know what? I do that same thing when I take people skydiving. I'll go, I start talking, you want to go skydive tomorrow? And I'll go, they'll go, yeah, I want to go. And I say, let me feel your hands. And if it's clammy, I know they're going to jump.
Hmm.
If they're just lying to me, there's no clamminess to their pumps. Yeah. So, the other thing, most of the people who take it real seriously, the way they prepare is drinking sangria all night long. Right? Am I
It's
right?
true. And you're not allowed
Yeah.
to run in the race if you're drunk, but that's what happens.
Well, I know for me, I was going to be the most sober guy there, and I stood next to a guy who was wearing good tennis shoes. So I said, okay, he looks like he's got a tracksuit on. He's serious. And like you talked to that one guy, I talked to him. He goes, yeah, I do this all the time. And he said, now don't start running until you see them. Otherwise, you're just running away from the bulls.
Yeah, it's
So I said,
true.
he said, wait till you get my signal. And I'm waiting and waiting. And those, you see the brown and white steers coming at you. And then the big black, the heads bobbing over higher than the people that are running. And
Oh
I'm
yeah.
waiting for the signal. And then I look, he's gone. Yeah.
They
And
are
then you
on
run.
you in an instant. Those animals run 100 meters in like six
Yeah.
seconds.
And then
They're
you go
so
up that
fast.
hill and then you go down and you make that right hand turn where all the
Oh, everyone
telephone,
slips.
yeah, everyone slides in because the road angles angles
Yes,
to the left but it turns to the right. So everyone's running and they take that one area
that's
wide
right.
and they go slide into that corral gate where all
Yep.
the
And the bulls slip
cameras
too.
are. And no,
Yeah.
but I mean that the day I got there, I saw the first time I saw a picture from the day before of a bull ramming a guy right into one of those fences with it. Might have been one of those guys that got gored. And but then you get running down there and you get to the Hemingway statue.
Right.
I think the second time I ran, um, there was a confusion, and this is where the problem is. When some of the bulls that are going to be in the fighting ring that night get separated from the
Yep.
rest of the
Yep,
pack, they get confused,
they
and
do.
that's where people get hurt. But people think that the whole bunch of bulls have gone by, so they jump. More people crowd in, and then I guess all mayhem. So I got down to the Hemingway statue. I go, I'm not going to run into the arena where they're going to fight the bulls later. I'm not that stupid. I thought I was so smart, but I stood there, and but I didn't hear. I think there's a second gun that goes off to let you know the bulls are
That
in.
they're in the corral. That they're in. They made it to the arena, and then the third one is they're in the corral. Yeah.
Okay, well, I hadn't
Yeah.
heard that second gun. And then
Yeah.
all of a sudden, people are just screaming like the running was over. And then all of a sudden, there's these people just screaming, and two more bulls coming running down. Well, okay, so what life lesson are we going to talk about from this experience we've had?
Well, look, like a Navy SEAL, like any a human being that wants to test themselves. I think that's why we go, but also there's this pageantry with it. I think we have to put
I
ourselves in
didn't
a
notice the
situation.
pageantry. I didn't notice the
Yeah.
pageantry.
Yeah,
I was
the
too
San
scared.
Fermin Festival. But
Yeah.
like swimming, where you were swimming across the islands in Hawaii, look, you're testing yourself. And I wanted to test
Mm.
myself as a young man. And so I put myself in a position where I can test myself when it came to
Mm.
courage. And I think the greatest draw for me is like to have that courage because it's easy to jump off that block and just watch those bulls run by you. But I tell
Yeah.
you, you're never more alive than you're running next to an 800-pound
Yeah.
animal that can cut
Yeah.
you into two
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
just docilely will run right by you.
But once you're there and it starts, you can't get out because everybody's crowded. They put those
Yeah,
corral fences.
especially on the
Every
weekend.
place you look, there's 1,000 heads looking out from the corral. The door sills are maybe 2 inches deep. They're not like a foot and a half deep.
Right.
Once you're in there, you're cooked. So, but I think that's really true. Men want to be tested, and I go back to that. I think that's why so many young men are coming to the Catholic faith
Yeah.
because it's tried and true. It's ancient. It's ancient. I have a friend of mine who's a really strong Christian, and his pastor is of a big non-denominational church. Spoke to his congregation about a month ago, and he said, the Catholics have got it right. We're not seeing this great infusion of young men into the church like the Catholics are. And it's because they don't change their teaching.
Hmm.
They and the path is hard. Tell me what you're seeing now with our new pope in this regards.
Yeah, Pope Leo is an Augustinian, and my spiritual director was his vicar general when he was just Father Bob Prevost working as superior general for the Augustinians. So I asked him the same question. Are we going to get a man who's going to lead the church with faithful teaching and to the magisterium and to tradition? And he said, absolutely. And not only are you going to get that, you get a very hard worker. I like what I see
Mm.
in Pope Leo. I love his name. I
Yeah,
love
me
Pope Leo
too.
the 13th.
But
So
I
when
was
he took
so
that, I knew
thrilled.
he was gonna be good.
Yeah. Yeah, I was so thrilled when I heard Leo, Leo the Lion. Yeah, he seemed to be everywhere all at once.
Mm,
Since he's been Pope, he's just everywhere. Just
yeah,
everywhere doing great things. I'm very, very hopeful too. And I love what you said. Someone who's true to the magisterium of the church. The church's teaching is so deep, so profound. Who are we to
right.
think we can second guess that and try to
And one
nuance
thing
it?
your audience may not know is that he started Villanovans for Life when he was at Villanova University. Like he started the first pro-life club at Villanova, so he's extremely pro-life, and he will speak for the voice of the unborn, and that's important as a pope.
Yeah, and I know that, and that's your heart. Are you still doing a lot of pro-life speaking too, Mark?
I do not as much as the acquittal since the acquittal, but it's still very much an important part of my message and my work. So we continue to offer that if people need it. They want us for banquets or something like that. Yeah.
Fundraisers are very important for pro-life. If you say you're pro-life and you don't donate to a pro-life organization, you're not pro-life. You just have an opinion. That's one very worthy cause. And I know you do a lot when you go to these, like you say, the dinners or the galas to help raise funds. It's a really, really,
Sure,
really important outreach. What happened to that center where you were, do you still go down there and pray, or what's the,
I
is it,
do. Yeah, when I got
what's
acquitted,
going,
I was there. I was there the following week after the acquittal, and I'm there every Wednesday. I would have been there this week, but my baby was born this week, so I
uh,
took a week off. But yeah, it's still there. It's a Planned Parenthood, so we're hoping with the defunding of Planned Parenthood, it might be one of those to go the way of the dodo. But it's got some. It's got a lot of traction. It's the largest killer in Philadelphia, so they got a
mm.
lot of support.
Oh, the city of brotherly love where they kill babies.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think it's so funny. Well, I'm a pro woman advocate. I think it's a woman's choice. Well, what about the woman in the womb? Do you care about that woman,
Mm,
But I think the bottom line is this too is we have the word in Hawaii, kuleana. It means personal stewardship and a realm of personal responsibility. It's almost like having a kingdom. It's your realm in your life, kuleana. And I think the most cowardly thing a man can say, these are the words of cowards. And they sound so profoundly loving. Honey, or to the girlfriend, yeah, okay, you're pregnant. Okay, well, whatever you decide to do, and the
mm,
hand goes up and kind of like pushing her away, I'll be there to support you. Which is she knows that means he's not going to be there for me if I have the baby.
right.
If he was, he would say it. But oh, whatever you choose, I'll be there to support you. No, you won't. It's the most cowardly word a man can say. And
Yeah.
and men, I think it's true that most abortions wouldn't happen if there was one man who would stand with that woman, whether it's a father or an uncle or the father of the baby or whoever. If there was one strong man that would stand with them and help them, they wouldn't have that abortion. So we're visiting with Mark Houck. Mark, where can people find you?
Yeah, the kingsmen.org is where they can get all they need.
Yeah, and men, you can participate there and bring Mark out to inspire the troops. Have them come out and speak. Mark, we got to go.
All right, man.
Thanks. So good to finally catch up with you again. What was it? 3 years ago we saw each other last? It was in Indianapolis,
Yeah, yeah,
Indiana. Yeah,
Indiana.
yeah.
Yep, that's
So,
great. Always great to see you. Keep up the great work. So I
you
guess we're
too.
all pal. We're all pal now, right? All pal.
Oh yeah, right. We're pal. It
Oh,
means we're done. We're
yeah,
done.
that's right. We're done.
You know what? You know what? When you finish work, it's called pauhana.
Palhana.
It's also what we call happy hour.
Okay. Great
Okay,
talking
my
with you.
brother. God
All
bless
right,
you. Have a
man.
great
God
weekend. I
bless.
believe
God
in you.
bless.
I'm praying for you. We
Thank you,
all
man.
praying for you. Okay. Until next week, may the breath of the Holy Spirit aloha you. Aloha.
Thanks for listening to the Bear Woznick Adventure. Find more manly conversation at the Bear Woznick Deep Adventure YouTube channel. Subscribe and ring the bell.